Hey everybody, thanks for joining me tonight. It is another late stream. Uh, Same thing as usual. Schedule something and things just don't work out. You end up getting to it whenever you can. So tonight we're going to be continuing work on pages 26 and 27, and I believe we're starting with the Dwarf Ranger. If I remember right, the what do you call it? The pose was all messed up last night. Like I ended up changing it a lot, and so we'll go ahead and work on that. But we'll try to get the Dwarf Ranger finished up, and maybe get into the Gnome Barbarian as well. Just pulling up the pages right now. So if you happen to join me tonight, I would appreciate it if you hit the follow button. And if you're watching later on through YouTube, please like and subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out a lot. Let's go ahead and jump over to the actual art page. Here we go. So I had worked on the pose a bit, but I still was not liking where it was at. In fact, I don't like having her arm up. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Well, a lot. How about a lot? Can I? Yes. All right. So I was putting her arm up behind her to pull the bow, and I don't like the way that looks at all. Let's see. So we've got. She's going to be kind of blocking with her sword, and I don't really care for having her arm quite so, I don't know, rigid right there, like upward. Let's go ahead and start over here. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Erase whatever I just did right there. There we go. I should pay attention to what I'm working on before I start working. Alright, I'm going to take this bit out. I'm going to keep the arm angled downward. And then the hand pretty much like this. Because I want her sword to be at an angle like that. And that's, I think, longer than her actual sword is. But the other arm here, reaching behind her, I do not like that at all. So instead, let's see, we're going to slenderize her neck a little bit more. This is the shoulder right here. And so we'll go with something a little bit more like what I started with. Let's see. Let's extend her shoulder downward a bit more. Her upper arm, right about to here. And let's see. What if maybe I'll put her hand over here with the bow. Make her hand about that big. Maybe you'll see the fingers there. That leaves me the ability to put the bow over here without totally blocking up the whole figure. Now her pose is still a little bit stiff and not very powerful. So let's see about Let's just kind of start tweaking things here. Try to get this, make it look good here. Maybe bring the chest back over here some. The ribs are here. I think I want to get some more tilt. Have her actually leaning into this a little bit more. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and erase this part of the bow, just because I don't want to have to mess with it. I'm going to take her upper torso and that sword. And we're just going to go ahead and lean her into this a little bit. About like that. Maybe slide her over this way. So then, let's see. That's bringing her into the action a little bit more. And of course that shifted all of this. So we're just going to chop her all up and move her all around the picture here. I will have to make sure that I maintain the appropriate proportions, like her height and everything. Okay, so here's another thing. This leg, we had it turned all sideways. I'm not going to want that here. This leg is going to be more straight down, like this. And her boot would be like right here. While her other leg would be coming out. Maybe more like so. Bring this down a bit. We'll give her just a little bit more. Yeah, she's got more action now. Alright, so she is 1, 2, 3. Still 4 heads tall. That's how tall she's supposed to be. And I'm liking this more. Okay. I might even ease this arm down some more. So instead of having her clenching that bow up high, bring her arm down a bit more. A little bit more of a, so she doesn't have it like, yeah, held up in the air. It's more down low here, like she just pulled it off her shoulder. And she's getting ready to switch over to using that. Of course, there's not a lot of arc in that yet. Of course, there's not as much arc in a bow when it's not being drawn. And it's supposed to flex, but we'll do this. Okay. I think we're getting somewhere with this. All right. And now there's this. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull up the reference sheet now so that I can make sure the character looks right. So we're going to go into my reference folder, get my Dwarf Ranger, make this side by side. Now over here, we need to be back over here at the Dwarf Ranger. So now I can reference what she looks like in some different poses, try to keep her consistent. And let's see, so am I zoomed in? Okay, let me go out one time. Now we can put in all the little things. We're going to be building this up a little bit at a time. But I figure, let's see, she's looking back into the scene towards the Gnome Barbarian. I'm going to go ahead and bring her ponytail. Just leave it kind of interesting. So I'm just going to bring it like right here. It's going to create this arc at the back of her head. Let's see. And you can see over here how short her sword is really. So there's not much of a handle below where she's holding it. And there is like a gem like right here. So that's about as much as you're going to have back here. Then as far as the blade itself, if I were to gauge it by hands, that's about 3 hands. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3. So top of the blade should be right about there. All right. So I did get a little bit of sleep tonight. After I got off work and decided since I was up way early, I might as well go ahead and do a stream tonight. Come in here and work on getting the Dwarf Ranger done. I want to get into that Gnome Barbarian again. I kind of like drawing him. But I think this Dwarf Ranger is actually my favorite character so far out of the whole book. I don't know why either. It's just I like working on this character. Okay, let's throw in some basic stuff here. So she's got, it's like her collarbones right there. Just see. So she's got a tunic that she wears, which comes in right about here. Has a little short notch collar thing going on, and it runs back kind of like that. It's one of those like low collar shirts, so you won't actually see her collarbones at all. And most of that shirt you won't see because of her vest, but we're gonna put this in just to make sure I've got it. Now I made my original sketch of the Dwarf Ranger into the title cover for this week's live streams. And that's this image down here. That was a pen and ink illustration colored with alcohol markers on paper. But by using that one, excuse me, using that one for my title image, I've been seeing it a lot, of course, and realized I had originally given the character like a bone necklace, and I'd never put that in the book. I think it was maybe one of those things. It's just like one detail too many that I didn't put in, and I'll probably just leave it out. But I don't know if you've noticed it. What do you think? Does that look like a cool thing for the character? Should I put it in across the whole book, or just leave it out and have it be that one-time thing? Okay, so now I'm going to do her vest. Her vest has a collar that's coming up a little bit higher. It comes down and it flows around her breasts, but it's also kind of a short vest, so it comes down and then it hangs right about here. And so we'll do the same thing over here. Now on this side, we'll have the collar come out and be open. We're going to go ahead and do the form. So it's going out to about right there, doing its little flop down thing, and wrapping around back there. Now we need to clean up some stuff over here. So with all this sketchiness, we get all kinds of junk lines and bits and fragments in places, and I clean up the pencils as much as I can, or within reason, but later on, I'll be coming back through, and I will be inking the book. So coming back through, going over all the pencil lines with smooth ink strokes, and finalizing it for the actual coloring book. Now, in this scene here, all right, so with this angle, I'm just going to show you the thickness of the jacket with the seam, and I need to just shrink my eraser down a little bit. There we go. But I want to keep this curve, I want to make this curve nice instead of having it kind of flattened out there. And I didn't like that. And let's see, I'm going to cut that in. Just bring it through right like that. So the jacket, most of her armor, it's leather, and it has this trim, like seam that goes around it, and of course it's got these big stitches. So that is one of the main design elements of the character. And I keep that through the jacket and in her pants. Oh, and she has like shoulder pads that are probably actually part of her jacket, but yeah. So that's kind of the whole thing with her. That sort of rugged outdoors look. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and clean right through here. Oops. Went a little outside my line. Okay. So then the jacket itself comes up sort of past her shoulders, kind of that whole medieval thing. Well, before I get there, let me expand this collar out just a bit more so it's not riding her neck too tightly. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it down and put a little bit of a line here for where her shoulder is. The shoulder itself, yeah, the shoulder of the vest right here, it arcs upward a little bit and then chops down, leaving I didn't really draw it that way. But anyway, it kind of has like a triangle shape to it right here, like a wrapped triangle as it goes out around her shoulder and tucks down along the armhole. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add the trim along here and bring it down around the whole arm opening, just like that. Now I'm not keeping that line over there. Okay. Then she also has, like I said, these little bits of shoulder pad that come in, and they are like I said, I think it's part of the vest, and that's kind of how I designed it. So they come in, and then you've got the trim, and that was way too thick for that trim. Let's try to thin it up a little bit, keep it reasonable here. And we'll just clean out the lines a little bit. Okay. We'll do the same thing on the other side, and I don't like where that curve is. Let's bring it in a little tighter. And then just kind of bring it across there. So, other side of the vest, shoulder. Bring this piece of the vest out, curve it downward, and add the trim to it. And clean out that line from the shoulder. And that might actually be just a little too long right there. Let me bring it back just like that. Sometimes it's only like a few pixels of difference will make a big deal. And then you have the shoulder pad, or the, yeah, little shoulder pad piece right there. And we'll add the trim to it. All right, we are getting there. Now, let's see, this character has a belt, which she wears like right here. So we'll go ahead and wrap this belt around her. Add a little bit of thickness to it there. A little bit right back here. And she has this large gem that is kind of like a belt buckle. So we're going to go ahead and put that in here. Get the general angle of it. Put it right about center. So this is coming up just a little bit above the belt itself, then angles together with a flat piece right there. And at the bottom, it just comes together as a point. Right about there should be good. We can take the belt line out of there. And of course this thing has, it's basically a gem in a setting. So we'll leave this setting outline on it. And put a couple of lines on there for like the cut of the gem. Now, so this character actually carries her, well, she uses her sword with her left hand, which means her scabbard or sheath tends to ride on her uh, right hip. Now I'm going to place that right here. We want to make sure it actually comes out with like the right width, so it looks like the sword could go into it. But generally, I'm going to put it right there like that. That's just the empty holster for that. Now she's got from this uh, sheath, she actually has, let's see, a strap that holds it to her leg, like right around. I think I usually put it lower, closer to her knee. We'll put it more like right here. And of course, if that's going to be like that, then I've got this angle all wrong. It should actually ride tight on her leg. Not like how it did in that other picture. So think like a machete actually strapped to your leg. It kind of is what the general idea is here. Maybe less of not following the angle so much because I don't want it like stabbing her in the leg. Um, but yeah, something like this. So it is definitely more than a knife and less than like a big sword. So I'll go ahead and clean that out right there. But I will add just a little bit of thickness right here so that it's it looks like it's actually could be strapped on. Now at the top section of it, it is attached with like a frog or whatever that allows it to rotate a little bit in the area, and that is it. The pivot of it is facilitated by a ring, leather straps that attach to the ring. So there and there. And that's, of course, strapped to her main belt so it doesn't fall off. And it continues around the back, hooks onto her belt at the back of the character. Like, you can't see that because it's off screen. So let me go over here and zoom in and slide that over. There you go. So now, right there, it wraps around the character, attaches in the center of the back of her belt. So, as you can see, though, and this is one of those things that I don't like. Um, Earlier when I drew this character, like in this particular scene, I didn't strap that sword to her leg like I was supposed to, like I just did. In fact, at that time it's there, but it's not actually doing anything. So part of this has been an exploration of each of these characters, seeing like how they look, how they should be drawn, how things should work, and so it's kind of like by the end of the book, I know way more about these characters than what I did when I started, because I just kind of created them in like one sketch and then went with it. So the first book might be the lowest in quality, but it is entirely exploratory. And if I do anything else with these characters, it will be an improvement. I'm just making that sheath a little bit longer, trying to get the right length to it. Okay. And so I've still got this bit of line from the bow. I'll sketch that back in real quick. Let's go through. Let's go through the torso. So I just took the bow. The bow's in her hand over here, but she does have that other strap that runs across her chest. So we'll put the ring right here. The strap itself goes up and around her shoulder. It would be coming in through right here. So you won't see that part of the vest. And then it runs under the vest to the back. So right over here. And we'll take it to right there. That's good. So this is a big leather strap. This is what actually holds her bow onto her back. I'll round this out a bit more. Give it some thickness. And then let's put the strap onto it. Okay. Then the last thing, I think, where is it? Ah, yes. I think I was also including like a couple of little things there, but they're not gonna work in this particular scene. Sometimes that's too many little details. Um, Now for her shirt, I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate some wrinkles. There we go. And this part of her vest that's wrapping around at the edge of her form, I'm gonna just tone that in right there and tone in this section up here. So as a coloring book, I'm not doing a whole lot of lighting with the characters in the scene, but I do a little bit. I want to leave as much as possible up to the person that colors the book so that the scene can be like any time of day, any kind of lighting. That's all for the person that colors that page in their copy. It's all there for them to do whatever they want to do with. All right. Let's deal with her arms. So she wears gauntlets, heavy gauntlets, but um they're not like real big, they're just heavy, like good and thick, sort of like what do you call them? Falcon gloves or hawking gloves or something like that. Falconry maybe. Um the idea being that she does have that companion, or yeah, I guess companion, that he can land on her forearms, or on occasion he's on her shoulder, kind of like a pirate with a parrot. Let's see. I think I made this forearm too long, actually. Just I just need to move that hand in a little bit tighter. I'm just gonna skip the rest of that bow. Oops. Of course, I ended up. Oh, wait, no. That's right. I got it. Talking and forgot what I was actually doing there. Um, just that forearm felt a little too long, so I'm moving the hand up just a bit to shorten that length. Okay, so she's got these uh, heavy gauntlets, and her sleeves are a little bit like billowy, so her shirt, comes out, and then her sleeves billow out a little bit. Not too much. Don't want to be like what do you call it? They don't want to be. I don't want them to be too flowy or droopy or anything. It's more just it provides probably like some insulation, A little bit of air, like airflow or whatever here. All right. And then here, it's going to tuck in because her arm is bent. And here it's coming out of her tunic or her vest. Let's see. I'm going to tuck it in like that and then have it poof right here. Which leaves this one little. We're just going to fill that with the shirt. So it's not so much of a weird edge back there. And we'll go ahead and give it a little bit more poof right here. And let's see. I'm not thrilled with the way that's looking. So, the shirt here. Maybe take it like this and separate that section of it. So I'm just working with the folds here, trying to make it look half decent. Ultimately, I don't like this at all. So let's see, like if I carry that through and maybe have some more back here, it just feels like the shirt's not coming together right. Maybe some more like this, and then that. I think that, yeah, that's gonna do better. So that's more the draping as it comes down off the upper arm into the forearm. Put a little bit right here, and that'll let me maintain that curve that I had in the vest back there. Okay. Let's go ahead. Okay, I did that one. So now we just got pretty much hands to put together here. We're going to come back to the hands and the face later. Let me go ahead and do the stitches here in her trim. So I'm just doing little lines that go from the trim into the main body of the clothing. This would be like heavy leather stitches. Same thing over here with the shoulder pads. And you can't really do anything with that part along that trim edge. I'm going to shrink my eraser just a bit more, and I'm going to erase next to these stitches. That's just to kind of give them that appearance that they're rolling and connected. Just bring the whole thing together. Okay. Let me darken this in a little bit more. Actually, I might just go ahead and let's just exaggerate. That's the word I'm looking for. This little bit of the vest, just to give it that much more overhang right here and get rid of that little bit of a tangent that I had going on. So now there is definite coverage, definite change in height of the different objects layered on top of each other. Let's see. So we got that. I want to come back to the hands a little bit later. Let's go down through the legs here. So I'm going to get rid of that scribbly bit of bow that I sketched over here. Let's go ahead and start with the rear leg first. So she wears these leather pants. Well, actually, the pants themselves are probably not leather. It's, but she does have some adventuring clothing that she's wearing. So her pants are probably a good heavy cloth, but they have sort of like chaps that are leather. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up like that. Let's see how that looks. Let me make my eraser a little bit bigger again. Just cleaning up my lines, getting that silhouette to look pretty decent. And here we go. So then her boots come in just below the knees, right about here, and they have a big furry fold-over component to them. It's like a big furry poof. And then they are leather boots, and they kind of have some wrinkles and folds to them, and they come down. I give her heels on her boots. Some of the characters don't actually get like a sole or a heel. Others do. Alright, so make her boots a little, like her foot comes out like this. Little bit of an upward tip at the end where her toes are. And let's see. Just a little bit there. Okay. That should do it. So she does have a small heel on her boot, and the boots are thick leather, toes curve slightly upward. And then that's the heel, and this is the sole of the boot. Oops, got on my button there. And let's see, then, yeah. We'll give this some thickness here. Maybe thicken that out and level it just a bit more. And we could have even some more there. All right. Now, her leg chaps, they kind of come around the outside of the leg, and then at the knee, it moves to the inside. So it curves across the knee. So we're going to go like right here and bring this back like that. So this is the leg chap that you're just barely going to see on on that leg in this specific pose. Put the trim on it. I'm just going to erase a few little notches there. and put my lines in. There we go. So let's take a look at where we are at with this and how she's looking. So we're kind of zoomed out. I think it's looking pretty good. She doesn't look very feminine yet. That basic head that I've got on her is not doing her any favors, but I think it's looking pretty decent. Okay, let's work on the other leg. Zoom back into 100%. Now, this time, we're going to see the outer edge of the leg. And so that leather piece is coming down the leg at the knee. It's crossing all the way over and then going further as it goes, back over on the inside. Now, she does still have a boot over here, and we're running into the cleric right there. So, like, if I turn off the cleric, there we go. Now we can see a little bit better. And I don't want to actually have the fur, what do you call it, like crushed so much. As I'm doing that shape that's changing size there. I want to try to keep it level. Keep it the same size all the way through, and it's not quite, it's still getting a little squished on the inside there. So let's go to there. That'll do it. That's about the same. And we're going to do the same thing over here. So I've got the boot itself, might have some wrinkle in it there. Bring it around. Ultimately, the wrinkles stop at the point where the foot comes out of the boot, because that's changing directions. I'm going to go ahead and put her foot flat right there. Yeah, that's good. That's lower than the other one, which is slightly receding. And then I'm going to put her toe. It's slightly curved upward. That's the bottom of the boot that I'm filling in with black. We have some sole right here, which can actually pop out a little bit right there. So it's what do you call it? It's like a wooden and leather sole that's on the boot. And then the toes right about here. Okay. And let's see. The foot would if there's any wrinkle to the boot, it would probably be over on this side. I don't like that. We don't want to do that. We'll get rid of that. I'm going to just leave the toes here, kind of like this. And clean that up a little bit. Clean that out a little bit. All right. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bring some. Just do a little bit of work on these wrinkles, just like that. And maybe cut that one off of there. And maybe put a little one right here. That'll do. So now let's go back up here to the leg. So as I said, I've got this piece of the leather is coming down around her knee, comes down on this side, and it has, of course, that same trim pattern. So we'll go ahead and just give it that secondary line, following the form, trying to maintain the same thickness. Right there at the bottom, I'm going to like taper it off real quick right there because it is traveling in like to the rear of the leg. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and just erase out my little stitch chunk areas. That's good. And pencil in the line. There we go. And of course, this belt should have some thickness to it. It should come out past the leg. All right. Oop. So now, let's see, we'll just finalize some of these lines here. So I'm going to bring this in. Let me get all the way in here so I'm not just sketching all over the place. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and bring in some shadow right there. This is one of those few places where I'm just going to incorporate a little bit of shadow. I feel like I might have done, yeah. So I've done like can't say words now. All right, I have done a bit of a seam in her leg before, so we'll go ahead and bring that in as well. And I'll put the little stitch lines here. There we go. Maybe open this section up a bit more. Okay. And right there. All right, we're going to do kind of the same thing over here as far as I'm going to solidify that line. That's the leg crossing over the groin, changing forms, changing directions of form. And I think we're pretty good here. Let's see. So now we're going to do the fur on these boots. As far as the fur goes, it's just a very simple texture suggestion. I'm going to go ahead and start right here at the corner. And I'm just going to do these angled lines. And I try not to go the same direction too many times in a row. Just kind of working my way around. And some of them have a little bit different lengths. Some of them have different directions, different levels of twist to them. It all just kind of goes around, giving it that wild fur type appearance. All right, changing direction again. Going a little bit straight, going the opposite direction. And sometimes we repeat, and then sometimes we change it up. So now I'm just going to go ahead and erase that shape line that I had drawn earlier. So a lot of times I like to do a simple like rectangle, triangle, circle, whatever, and then work from that to create the final shape of the thing that I want to do. Do the other boot now, going around the outside again. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just right across there. And let me do this side. I'm going to save the top and the bottom for last on this one. Okay. Now we gotta go across the top and the bottom. When doing these fur boots, I think the top and the bottom are actually like my least favorite part because I'm working into the leather, working into the leg. I don't know. I like the sides a lot more than the top and the bottom. Okay, good. Yeah, that'll do. And we just want to put a little bit more inside the form. Not too much, just enough to kind of suggest that it is one big poof ball. That'll do. That leaves us with the hands, the swords, the bow, and the head and face. Okay. Let's see, what else we got going on? So I did her ponytail, just kind of sketched it out going in that loop like that. Um, but I am thinking I might bring it right here. Hmm. I do want to keep I want to keep some action going through the character. So having her ponytail whip around is cool, but let's actually bring it like right here. So yeah, like right there. And of course, if we go to, I think it was this one. Yeah, so her ponytail, if it was straight, would probably hang right about here. So yeah, it should actually be probably longer than that. Let's bring it to right here. That'll be plenty because we're dealing maybe a little bit of distance and a good bit of curve here. So I'm just gonna do that. But that gives us that little bit more dynamic overlay with the characters. So you've got, one more piece stacking over top of another, adding a little bit more depth. And maybe not curving downward so much. Maybe we just curve it straight over here. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. And then later on, I'll probably come back and not like it anymore. But for now, it's good. All right, let's go into the distance here. We're going to work on the rear hand with the sword. All right, so the blade itself, well, her sword, it's very simple. Nothing fancy here. It has a cross piece, Very simple cross piece. Should be a little narrower at the top than it is at the base. Comes across. And then, have I drawn the actual blade out? I think I have, but not in any of these. Yeah. So let me check one of my more recent pages. Let's see. Page 25. Alright, well, we did 25, so her sword was out, but you didn't see it in the page. I think that's where I definitely remember drawing it. But let's try. Let's see in here. Not there. Page 22, 23. Oh, yes, 23. Okay, nope, it was put away, so that's not one. Page 24. And she's not even in page 24, so nope. Okay, I've never drawn that blade out, which means I have no reference for it. It is literally whatever I make it now. So, yay, I can do whatever I want. But we already know. First of all, let me go with, this should be the center line, going back to that center line. Let me just darken that in a bit. The quicker way to do that would have been to use the line tool, of course. But that also creates a new layer. Then I have to merge the layer in. And it's probably about the same time to do both, either of them. All right. So I'm going to keep the blade pretty thick. We're going to go like right about there. We're going to bring it to, say, right here, right in that general area. And then it's going to come to a point. And it is an abrupt point, not a nice smooth curve like you see on most swords. It just literally points off like an arrow, kind of, or yeah, whatever. Let's see. And then I'm tapering the blade, but I should not. It should actually just be straight all the way down. So actually, let's fix this. We're gonna get rid of that. Keep the point right there. That's my center point where we're going to. So let's actually go to right about there. We go to right about there. The blade maintains its thickness all the way to about there. And then it points off like that. Very much like if you've ever seen, usually like in a cartoon, one of those like a kid running around with a cheap wooden sword. That's basically what it looks like. Except this one's not wooden. And let's see, so that's a little too thick even for the blade though. Let me just take this. We'll take this side. That should be good. And I'll take the other side, do the same thing. We're just tapering this, or narrowing it down a little bit. Right there. A little bit more. Right there. Now, of course, that just resulted in sort of a weird overlap up here, but we'll just clear that off. There we go. Now we got a sword. It's got the groove running through it. Right about here, it has this form. So, like, I'm not an expert on swords, but I believe this is a blood groove. So when you cut someone, the blood runs down this groove, and then you have these angled bits back here. It's a very subtle form. This is thicker than the blade. Basically, the blood is meant to run off the sides, so it doesn't come back and get all over your hands and basically make your hands slippery, so you'd lose your sword during a fight. Or, you know, it doesn't do that, so you don't lose your sword during the fight. Let's see. Now, down here, when she's got the blade in her hand. Alright, so we're gonna put the shaft in here. There we go. I'm gonna put this ring right here. This is the base ring. And so, as you can see, she does not have very much handle past where she's gripping it, and that is because it's not meant for using with more than one hand. It's essentially, like I said, a kind of like a machete, or, you know, more than a dagger, less than a sword, kind of. Let's see. Now she has a gem in the base of her hilt as well, or the pommel, I think that's called. Let's see. We're gonna bring that around. So there's this whole setting down here. And I think I made that a little crooked. Now it's a lot crooked. Okay. And in that setting, that's where the gem comes out of. There we go. Let's keep that going all the way there. Maybe add another line to that wrap. And let's see, now we're going to deal with the hand. Let's see. So we're dealing with this thumb where you're actually looking like at the top of it. And yeah, and of course she's wearing gloves, so the forms should be probably, oops, that was just my eraser blobbing. But like the forms of her hand should probably be kind of exaggerated and smoothed because of the thickness of the cloth. Now we'll have one finger right here, which probably ought to be back a little bit further than that. Next finger. Right here. Third finger. And the pinky. Okay. And then this is all, well, wait a minute. So, all right. Yeah. I'm going to keep the handle over the palm. So the palm is smashed back by, or yeah, by the hilt. All right. And then here is the hand. This is the glove. Put a little bit of a wrinkle there for that change in direction. Make sure that the lines are a little bit separated here so it's not like breaking it up into two different parts. Okay. And so then we've got the other hand with the bow. And let's see. So thinking we better do the bow first, then make the hand fit the bow. And let's see. So I know the bow needs to have that thing, the straight edge there. It's coming back over here. Straight edge. And of course it should have some thickness to it. We're gonna make it thickest right here where she holds it. Okay. And let's see, there's this. Okay. So I'm just cleaning out the shape of the bow here. And if I was really worried about preserving stuff and like if I like tweaking it again, I would have just put this bow on a different layer, got it all done, then merged it down. But I think we got this. The only question right here is whether or not I should actually put the bow line on it. So let's see. Now, I'll go ahead and zoom in again. Put this here. Connect that up a little bit. And we're going to put this hand together, same way we did the other one. The thumb is here. That's, oops, curving a little bit. It comes in about right there. Clean it out. That's the palm right there. Fingers right here. That's one. Bring this one back a little bit. Two. Actually, yeah, there we go. figuring out how these fingers are going here. Number 3. And number 4. That's the pinky right there. So then there's probably some flex in the glove right here. Wrinkling, flexing. See, clean out some of that line along the palm. And might even just stretch that a little bit like that. Okay. So I think we're pretty good. The only thing is that, like I said, I kind of want to put that string on the bow, and I kind of don't. So now I will go ahead and use another layer, because that way if doesn't work out at all, then I can just undo it or get rid of the layer. Alright, and that should actually be a little bit higher up there. So then, the way I typically draw the line for this bow has been to put in the one line and then just do an eraser mark right along it. But of course, that's not going to work right here because I'm on a separate layer. Now, the bow itself, so this line comes through the back. It's coming across here and it's wrapped. And same thing here. Comes through the back, comes down, and wraps. And so we just add a few wraps there. So yeah, let's go ahead and just merge that down. And we can undo if we need to with this one eraser mark. Like if I make it too big or too small or whatever. There we go. That's good enough. So it's just barely perceptible until you get in like all the way, but you can see we get that eraser line. It makes it look like there is some thickness to that string even without outlining it again. And when I do the inks, if I just leave out that little bit that we didn't get right, that little bit right there where it's overhanging past the black line, it just makes the string look that much thicker and cleaner. I'm just putting in some like stress marks here on the belts. Give them that sort of, you know, wrinkled and stressed leather look a little bit. And same thing here with the sheath. It has scratch marks and stuff from hard use. Yeah, just a few there. All right, so now we are down to the face and hair. So I am pretty happy with this character so far. Let's see, if anything, I'm going to want to, let's see, kind of fluff that little bit of curve of the breast right there into the, into the belt, if only to, what do you call it? Just to better emphasize that area. Okay, just a little bit, not like disgusting pornographic level. You have to pay extra for that. Okay. That'll do it. Oh boy. So the faces and the hair are usually like the hardest part with all these characters. And now she has, in addition to her ponytail, she has those two braids that come down. So let's go ahead and try to just shape her face a little bit here. Shape her head. Let's see. We want to have a nice smooth brow line because she's not like, you know, not like Conan or something with the hard brow line and the deep brooding eyes and all that. Now her nose, it is a dwarf nose, so it is kind of a big nose, but she's got that soft, feminine, what do you call it, arc to uh, the septum. I think that's the septum right there. Yeah. Anyway, then lips. And I think I mean, she is blocking. So let me think about maybe making her yell. Give her a little bit of a war cry going on. Now that's going to stretch her jaw loose, right? Or stretch her jaw out like that. Maybe not that much though. But let's see how this is going to come together. I think I actually ended up moving her jaw forward is what's going on there. So let's shrink this back a little bit. Okay, maybe even a little bit more. Maybe. That might be good. And then because her, well, because she's like doing this war cry thing, you'll have some more tension right here going into her neck muscle. Have uh, the shadow along her neck. Oh, and let's see. You can bring that in. There's going to be some shadows going on over there. Things that aren't going to be fully lit. And I think I gave her just a little bit too much upward tilt in her nose right there. So let's just kind of try to knock that back down a little. Sometimes these little details in the shape of the face can make big differences. And let's see if get just a little bit more of a flare there. and reduce the thickness of that mouth line. I might keep it dark on the top though. But let's see, like right out here's where we want to bring her mouth to, I think. And now it looks horrible, right? And I think I gave her, maybe it's just too strong of a chin. Maybe too strong and too big. Just round it off back there a little bit more. And her mouth is, of course, right now, like toothless, which is probably part of what's going on here. Okay. Yeah. Now she's got chipmunk teeth. Let's see. Oh, and let's see here. So let's bring that to there. I don't want to separate the teeth out because then it just looks like well, I don't want to separate them very much at all, really. And that's going to be like too much of an indent. Let's actually bring these up just a bit more. And right here. We want very thin lines and maybe not completely separated with a line either. That would be one of those things to fine tune, I think, with the ink stage. Let's try to flare this lip out just a bit more at the bottom. Okay. And maybe flare this just a bit more at the top. So it kind of looks like she's wearing Invisalign right now, but I'll fix that later. That'll be one of those small little detail things. But let's say her eyes coming in right here. Coming across here. So this is essentially her eye socket. And then her nose would be, well, her nose is there. Her nostril would be back here. And of course, it would be kind of flared up. So, I mean, she won't be super pretty if she's snarling. But I don't like that hard change between the two forms right there. I'm thinking I want to bring that up a bit more. bring this in, maybe. Maybe I'll get rid of that rounded curve at the bottom. Only keep it at the top. Yeah, now we're back to that really hard angle. Okay. So it's really fine tuning right now, trying to get this face to look decent. But again, because she is a dwarf, the dwarves have the large, round bulbs on the ends of their nose, and we want to maintain that without going too crazy. Her forehead is like way too sloped. Let's kind of level that out a little bit. That's a little bit better. Yeah. So then the nose, maybe we want this curve to come more like so. That might be a little bit less hideous. Okay. So then cheekbone would be back here. It would curve down like that. But of course we don't want it to go that far. And we don't want it to be quite that pronounced. Just a little bit there to give her that form. And let's see. I'm going to emphasize that a little bit. But maybe cut it out a little bit down there. And trim this back. So definitely not like a beauty shot for her in this particular scene. Okay. Then the ear should probably be right around here. Give it a little bit more lift. And bring it down like so. I'm doing that thing where I get caught on the button with my fingers again. Okie dokie. Now the eye itself. Well, let's do the eyelids. So I've got her eyes where they open up more back here and close up in there. Now her eyebrows are fairly thick over here. Let's say she's got kind of a rounded curve to them there at the back. And we don't need that line there or these lines here. And she is looking over that way. You might just want to smooth that out a little bit more. Nice smooth line. get in here and clean that out a little bit more. And don't want it to look like she's rolling her eyes. We want to kind of fill that whole area in and maybe put the center of it right there. I think we're looking pretty good now. And now for the hair. So we've got, her hair is back in that ponytail, but then she has these braids that come down in front of her ears. General hairline kind of comes like so, and out here. Just shape it real quick with some angled lines. And I can clear out some of this skull outline and some of that sketchy stuff back there. So now, see, her ponytail's whipping around this way. I'm going to have these braids doing something similar. It's going to come right down. Actual full length, they come down to about the nipple line on her breasts. Should be right around here. Curving. I'm going to bring it to about right here. Oops, I went on the wrong side on that bit. So right there at the ring is where that's going to end. I'm going to go ahead and just clear that out. And I'll do the same thing for the other side. Let's see, it'd be coming down and, let's see. I want to try not to create any weird tangents right there when I do it. We'll just give that a little bit more swing and take it to about there. Make it slightly thinner than the other one. That should do it. And she has a feather in each of these braids. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make that feather flow like that. Give that side there. And we'll bring it together like that. Okay. So I'll clear everything out of the feather. And do the other one over here, and we'll do it just like that. Bring it out like that. This side like here. There we go. And what else do we need? I think that's going to be it. We just need to put these braids and feathers and hair in. Oh, and she's got some, not so much bangs, but some of her hair hangs forward there on her face. So we'll go ahead and do that. Got like one little bit here. And then the other one is longer, coming down to about where her eye is. And we'll curve that back out like that. And have it come in. Wait a second. We'll give it a little bit more form here. There we go. what was I sketching right there? I think that's some old stuff. Okay. So there's that. We're going to get rid of that solid baseline there. And of course, her hair is mostly sweeping back into this braid. So that's where everything needs to go to. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and put this form right here. Nice big thick roll or wrap. Alternating sides here. And as we get further and further down, the braids should get a little bit smaller. All the way to the end. So I'm going to clear out that straight line guide that I used to set that up to begin with. And at the end of the braid, her hair is loose for a little bit. We'll just carry this out here like so. And that should do it. There we go. So then we have the same general thing here. Her hair is hanging down into a braid. It's basically just a offset, opposing angles going down through all the way to here. And I'll just make sure I have some hair that's like wrapped around that feather. So tonight, yeah, it's already 11 o'clock. Yeah, tonight, this is going to be as far as I go. Tomorrow, I will focus on doing the Gnome Barbarian. That's who she is actually engaged with right now. And let's see here. Okay. And we could put some strokes into the hair here just to help emphasize it. But of course, if you do it too uniform, then it looks weird. That should do. Oh, and clear that out right there. So, yeah, I think I like that a lot, actually. And we're going to call her done for the day. Again, when I go through and ink it, I'll be fine-tuning things, smoothing that out. But then tomorrow, we're going to work on the Gnome Barbarian, who is right here. That's his big sword that she's crossing uh, her blade with. And he is 4 heads tall, so that sketch is not big enough for him. What I'm going to do is go back to my concept layer. I'm going to go ahead and grab hold of this character. Let's see. And of course, we're going to get all kinds of junk when I do this, but we're going to go ahead and grab him. And we're going to make him bigger. Whoa, that might have been too much. Let me zoom out some. Oh yeah, that was way too much. We're going to bring him back down to about there. Oh, just a little bit bigger. And move him down onto his line. Alright. So now, here's the thing. Actually, yeah. That should put his cross piece right about here. And so her blade would be stuck with that. That might work out really good. Of course, his blade's going way the hell out there because it is huge. So she's kind of like holding him at bay so he can't actually get her. But let me actually let me go undo. If I go back one more time. Okay, let me readjust him again. Let's put his marker line there. Stretch him out to fit. And we're going to maybe move him in closer even. Get him closer to the same level she's at, because they shouldn't be like super far apart. Let's go with that. That should work. Yeah, then they're right there. That's his big croissant looking thing. Cross piece on his blade. Gnome Barbarian. I'm going to bring his marker right on down here. So we just stretched him to fit that marker and then moved him a little closer into the scene so that they are engaging. And that's going to do it for today. So I will try to be back again Friday afternoon for another stream. Take it easy.